Welcome to the Pirate Handyman, where we teach you how to become more self-sufficient and even save some coin for your treasure chest. If you dig what we're doing and want to join the crew, hit that subscribe button down below, and if you hit that ship's notification bell, you'll be notified every time a new tip comes up. So what we're going to talk about today is just kind of a general overview of your engine. Things you can do and things you're going to need a professional for. Alright, so we're going to pop the hood, and generally the release for popping the hood is underneath the left side of the dash. You can see here there's a little handle. Pull on it and you hear it come up. So let's go outside. Okay, now we got to find the lever to release the hood. You can get your fingers underneath here and you can feel around. It's different on every car, but it's usually a little lever that you're going to push up or pull towards you. In this case, we push it up, and here's our engine. Now these are some things that you want to kind of check for yourself every once in a while, just to make sure that you're not having any problems, that all your fluid levels are okay. So this is the battery. There's two things you can do on your battery. First thing is you want to make sure that you keep all the posts clean. We've got a separate video that shows you how to do that. And then also checking the water levels. Now this over here, if we read the top of it, you can see it's a fluid reservoir, and it says right over here that this is the brake fluid. Now you'll see there are two indicators here. It means your fluid levels should be between those indicators. If it's a little bit low, on the top here it's going to tell you what kind of brake fluid to use. But I want to give you just a little caution here. If it's really low and you haven't had your brakes worked on for a while, I'd take it into a mechanic. Because if you fill it up when they fix your brakes, you're going to waste a lot of the fluid. This here is where the air filter is. You can clean the air filter. You don't have to replace it each time. And we've got a separate video on how you can clean the filter and replace it if you need to. Now, right here we've got a dipstick. Now you notice this dipstick is red. This is because the fluid in here is going to be red. This is your automatic transmission fluid. So if you ever see red fluid underneath your car, you've got a leak there. And if you need to check it, what you do is you pull it out and clean it off with a rag, and then put it back in. One wanted to be twisted. Put it all the way down, let it sit for a couple seconds, pull it back out, and you'll see here where it's wet, and it needs to be within this space. And sometimes, depending on your car, it'll tell you where the fluid should be if the car is warm or if it's cold. So then we'll move over here, and this dipstick is yellow. This is going to be the oil. So once again, we do the same thing. We're going to clean it off. We're going to put it back in. When you only have one eye, it's kind of tough to hit it.
Fix your pop-up eye.
Put it back down all the way, let it sit for a couple of seconds. Pull it back up. And once again, you can see where the oil needs to be. And here we're running just perfect. If it says it's low, I wouldn't worry about having to add any until it gets down to a quart. When it gets down to a quart, first of all, you want to check and see when was the last time you had your oil changed. If it's been more than 5,000 miles, just take it in and have them change the oil, and they'll add enough. If it hasn't, you're going to want to have your mechanic take a look at the car to find out why you're down the quart. But in order to get to where you're going, you can add a quart, and this is where you're going to add it. Just want to make sure you clean off this so you don't get any sediment down in the bottom there. Because if it goes in there, that means it's going to go into the engine and it's going to cause you problems. This reservoir here, this will tell you on the top it's the power steering fluid. And again, there are two little marks here that tell you the minimum and the maximum. And if you need to add any, you can just go to your auto parts store and it'll tell you if it takes anything special up here, but it's generally just going to be a regular type of power steering fluid. You just pop this off. This reservoir here, you can see the hose goes over to the radiator. So this is an overflow, but if you ever have to add coolant, that you're going to add the coolant into here, don't pour it directly into here, because basically as it warms up, it's going to pull the fluid in there. This down here is your washer fluid. And I would suggest, depending on where you live, but if you're in a place where it gets cold, I would definitely get regular washer fluid, because it has a little bit of alcohol in it so it doesn't freeze. And then the last thing you can check is your belt. And you want to look at the belt and just look for cracks. Now, anymore, I wouldn't recommend changing the belt yourself. If you have an old car and you know what you're doing, great. But you just want to make sure that there's no big cracks in this. If there is cracks, take it to your auto mechanic. So that's the basic overview of the engine. We'd like to thank Robbie for this. Robbie was the one that suggested we do this. Robbie, hope you dug that. And once again, thanks for joining the Pirate Handyman. And if you dig what we're doing, hit that subscribe button, and then the notification bell will let you know anytime we have a new one come on. So come on and join the crew, and here's to smooth sailing.